In the past 200 years, there's been a surge in entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs focus solely on economic gain, leaving the welfare of society and our planet as an afterthought.
And as you mentioned, that rig is already collapsing due to the fire.
And the resulting oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico never should have happened. And I'm deeply sorry that it did.
When these companies put their savings over our safety, they gamble with our lives. They gamble with my life. They gambled with the lives of 11 of my crew members who will never see their families or loved ones again.
If you can see the screen behind me, it's been like this for a number of days.
Over the past 2 decades, a new breed of entrepreneurs have developed: social entrepreneurs. They are seizing opportunities others miss to improve systems, inventing new approaches, and creating solutions to change society for the better.
So are you ready? Okay. So Mac McQuown, we're at Stone Edge Farm. I have been an entrepreneur for 4 decades. Prior to that, for a decade and a half, I worked for big banks and in New York and San Francisco. And then I took off on my own, and I've been starting companies ever since.
Mac's latest endeavor is Stone Edge Farms, a sustainably powered vineyard located in Sonoma County, California. Researchers on the property use clean energy solutions to produce all of their own electricity from a microgrid. Looking around with its clear skies and beautiful grapevines, it's easy to forget that on the other side of the world, fossil fuel pollution litters the air. However, Mac's direction could not be more focused.
The bottom line from the planet as a whole is we have not been conscious about the consequences of our oxidation, and really nobody has. We generate, every time we burn something, we create not just heat, but we have a waste, and the primary waste is CO2. So the state of play in the planet as a whole is in the last 150 years, we've increased the parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere from about 300 to about 400 parts per million.
To put that into perspective, in order to reverse that damage, we would need to cover the entire Sahara Desert in solar panels.
Well, the existing, let me call it macro grid, the big electrical grid that consists of large-scale production facilities, so coal or oil burning or nuclear plants, has to be sent around from the source of generation to the places where it's consumed.
The problem with centralized energy generation is that nearly a quarter of the energy is lost through transmission from the point of production to the point of consumption. The majority of the energy powering the Stone Edge microgrid gets collected from the sun through solar panels and is used for powering everything on the vineyard, from irrigation pumps to electric farm vehicles.
It really is just a localized way of creating an energy system, right? So there's some generation, there's a way to distribute that generation, and there's a level of bidirectional flow between different sources.
The purpose of this project, we have what we call the Prime Directive. The Prime Directive is to reduce the carbon footprint of Stone Edge Farms. The original goal was 50%. We accomplished that in the first year by solarizing our buildings. And then Mac moved the bar, and he said, what I wanted you to do is reduce the carbon footprint of Stone Edge Farm as far below zero as you think is humanly possible.
I think we need to learn how to live sustainably. And I think the best way to teach people is to do so by example.
Mac made a galactic step when he decided to fund this project. There is no other privately funded microgrid that I am aware of in the United States that fits the definition of what we're doing.
And if we can demonstrate that this is economic, there's a lot of places that would apply to. Every building could be its own microgrid. There's no reason why that wouldn't work.
the energy and the talent and not just the willingness, but the expectation that we're going to find new ways to do things that are better than have been done before, I think is just paying dividends in all kinds of ways.
So I think in a sense, entrepreneurship goes right back to decentralized decision making and trying to start small rather than start big. Of course, when you really get down to it, not too many things actually start big. That's really rare. Things start small and then they grow.
I see this project as just being the first domino that sets off an effect that would go throughout the rest of the country. And it might take a few decades, it might take 100 years to do that, for everybody to start powering themselves, but I see this as being the first people to actually try to do that.